do it.
Not really being heard, but y'all gonna see.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast. It includes all the crypto market news, including majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Memecoins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss the market pullback amidst trade wars restarting, some bullish announcement from large crypto players, and then all of the buttons we've been clicking this week. We had some winners on Wednesday. We're going to try to find some more winners today. We've got the all-star cast on. I'm joined today by Signal and Kix. Kix, it's been a couple days. How you feeling?
Good until you fucking told me about IBRL this morning. You know why I didn't buy that? Because I was on the fucking show with you. Okay? Filling in for people in fucking London, eating shit up there or whatever, dancing around, doing the gritty. I couldn't buy it. Because you weren't the only one that gave me the alpha. Someone in my messages on Twitter, I want to say it was Metablocks, who dislikes a lot of people on this show, but likes me. And I like him. He doesn't dislike you, Sick. He specifically doesn't like Nick or Clemente, one of those two guys. Anyways, he hits me up and he's like, get in this. You got a couple hours remaining. And that was at like 6 a.m. my time. If I can wake up, it's my fault. Why am I blaming other people who never get better? But I thought there could have been something to it, you know, a little pre-sale, whatever. Then Ray mentions it on the show. And I'm like, that's two people. That's confluence. That's a strong sign. And then Ray's like, only 15 minutes. I'm like, what the, you know, I'm fucking on the show for 15 more minutes. So I guess I'm just going to miss this thing. And then Ray tells me he's a fucking 30x. And then other than that, I'm doing great.
Yeah, so we shared this on the show on Wednesday. For anyone who's following along, we'll do a little inception here. So we got the show Wednesday, IBRL, public sale.
Look how locked in I am. I was ready.
Yeah, $3 million was allocated at the time of the show. There was 13 minutes left when we shared it. If anybody got into that, that was an absolute cook.
Yeah, I'm super happy for all the people that won, like Monsieur La Flame, TY for mentioning IBRL. I made 50K. Good for you. Everyone give him a round of applause. Everyone, give a little high five to Monsieur La Flame. 50K. Fuck, that's a half SUV.
You know what, Kix? I think you're approaching, like, I know how much you want an SUV, but I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're trying to buy the whole car, and I think you need to break it into chunks. I think you need to be like, right, the price of an SUV is, I don't know, I'm going to say 100K. And then I think you need to be like, I'm going to buy a wheel. So that's going to be 25K. I've got one wheel. And I'm going to make another trade. And now I've got two wheels. So I think you need to break it up and then you'll get the whole SUV. Because I made this mistake in 2021 where I had a goal of a very specific thing I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy a property. And I kept thinking to myself, I just only need this NFT, which has already gone up, to go up more. And then it will hit my target, whilst I should have been thinking, break up the portfolio, break it up into little chunks. And then I'll like buy a window, buy a door. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, I have the whole house. That's what you need to do with the SUV trade. You've got too much pressure to have that one trade.
I love this fucking idea. I imagine it as, you know, the kid toys where it's like the puzzle with the little hand grabbers on it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to vibe code with ChatGPT like a outline of an SUV and then make different parts worth different amounts. And I'm going to type in how much I made. And it's just going to like, there's the wheel. I got the left wheel. Oh, look at that, dude. I got the trunk. I got the trunk piece. Fuck, dude, I'm so happy for you, Monsieur La Flame. I'm so happy for you.
Oh my God.
Signal, I love this idea. This is phenomenal. We should actually turn this into like a software, and it's called, you know, Big Dreams, Little Pieces.
I like the marketing. Because you know what? Sometimes I think they tell you to dream big when you should be dreaming small. You want small little pieces, you know? It's like when people go to the gym, they're like trying to get their abs, all your abs. It's not going to happen. You need to go after one ab at a time, and then you'll have 6. You'll have your 6. No, we'll get there. No, good. No, seriously, well done to people who've done that, because the pre-sales have gone through the whole, like, it's a scam. They don't pump, wrong person. We had that little meta. Meta went away. It came back. It's that one pre-sale that's done well. Now we're going to have more pre-sales, and people are going to think they're going to do well because they missed the previous pre-sale. And then you just, unfortunately, is going to get like diminishing returns over time. But congrats for making 50K. Oh,
yeah. I'm trying to get my chest better, but I have a mild case of pectus excavatum, so it's kind of hard. But
okay, I don't know what that is, but it sounds
like a little hole. It's like a little hole in your chest, a little indent. But you know, you can put popcorn in it for movie night with the ladies. So you know, that's what I would have told my self-conscious 13-year-old self.
I think I have that too. I don't know if it's diagnosed or not. It's like,
you know,
somewhere like right here, like a little.
Yeah, there's two versions. Either it can be a concave or it can like poke out like a little tent.
Yeah, I think I got that too.
Yeah, the poking out's better because it doesn't put pressure on your heart. But
okay, well that's not great for me.
No, you're fine.
I was having a great morning as well, Kix. Now you're telling me my indented chest is putting pressure on my heart.
There's severe cases that are really bad, dude. It looks like a fucking skateboarding ramp. So if you don't have a super severe case, you're fine.
I love hearing men's issues with their bodies because it's extremely different to women. While women are looking at their thighs and their butt and their like whatever lack of abs, you guys are looking at like something we would never look at, an indent in not like I have never seen that on any female's page ever in my entire life. So you guys, you do you, we'll do us, and we'll all have our insecurity.
There you go.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about, including all of our bodily insecurities and abnormalities. We're going to get to the weather report here with Kix in a second, but first we're going to thank the sponsors of today's show, DYDX. We love working with DYDX. We're going to continue talking about them as much as we can, to be honest, because we love them as a perps trading platform. If you're not using DYDX, what are you doing? They're giving out $20 million of DYDX token rewards through their Surge program. They already paid out month one. Month two is about 3/4 of the way done now, coming in the 23rd of May. So we're getting ready to gear up for month three. If you're not in here yet, go to bodogos.com/DYDX, sign up, get ready, learn the platform, make some trades, understand how it works. To qualify for these airdrops of DYDX token, basically all you have to do is trade on their platform, and they reward retail users who do so. So if you're trading on their actual UI, you're not using APIs like all these trade bots. They're basically excluding the trade bots and giving it to real users. You can look at the breakdown here if you're watching on YouTube. Season 1 payouts. 4 traders received 50K. 14 received 20K. 23 traders received 10K. Lots of money up at the top. At least 627 traders received $100. So if you're trading, no matter the size, you can get rewards from the DYDX Surge program. They also have a Kaido leaderboard live. Absolutely free way to get exposure to a little bit of DYDX tokens and free cash. If you talk about Kaido, if you're using the platform, just share your trades and your thesis on the timeline. Why not do that? Earn some extra cash. We'll take a look at the leaderboard right here. See where our boy Easy is, if he's still up on this leaderboard or not. I know he's been pretty high. He's been pretty excited about it. But I think it's the top 150 are going to be rewarded here. So even if you're not on this very top list, there is cash to be given out, 50K per month over the next 3 months. Yep, Easy's still up here as well. So some smaller accounts as well. So if you are a smaller account, you still have a chance here. Good way to earn some free cash, trade on DYDX, earn rewards. Most EV positive perps platform right now in terms of additional incentives on top of just trading. We love working with DYDX. I love using them as a product. That being said, how about we kick off a weather report and get into this show?
Let's do it, man. Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Friday, May 23rd. The majors are down on the day. Bitcoin is at 108. Ethereum is at 2547. And Solana is at 176. Over the past 24 hours, we've had 3 major announcements for crypto infrastructure. The big banks, including JP Morgan, BofA, Citi, and Wells Fargo, explored a joint venture into stablecoins. The CFTC commissioner announced that crypto perps trading could be coming to the U.S., and Kraken announced XStocks, a tokenized equity trading platform built on Solana. Next up, trade wars have restarted as Trump made 2 major announcements over the last 24 hours. He announced a 25% tariff on any iPhones manufactured outside of the U.S., as well as potential tariffs on the European Union. Pre-market equities in crypto have fallen almost 2% since the announcements. Finally, Trump held his Memecoin dinner as over 100 people protested outside. Maxine Waters introduced the Stop Trump in Crypto Act that would bar a sitting president from profiting off of cryptocurrency. That's it for the weather report. Back to you in the studio.
Excellent weather report as always, Kicks. This is like an interesting picture to use as like an image for like the Maxine Waters Stop Trump and Crypto Act. Just a picture of the Trump family. I don't know.
Beautiful
on here. Yeah, interesting. So I didn't hear much news out of the Trump dinner. Did you see anything come across the timeline? Any quotables or anything like that?
I didn't see anything. It was super quiet. I haven't seen, like, apart from the price of the token selling off, I haven't really seen anyone talk about it. I suppose with like Bitcoin pumping, or well, not, it was pumping, and then Trump, EU. He hates the EU. He hates it. It's like he just wants to like just crush us and just be like, you will do what I say, and just put his thumb on us. Hence why he's going back on with the tariffs again. But the market's not reacting. Like, I was really hoping that we'll see more of a sell-off, and we're not. We're not seeing more of a sell-off. I feel like people know that this is just another negotiating tactic by Trump. And so the market's just pretty chill. Like, we've gone 108. I think the last time I checked, the weather report, we were at 108. I think that gets brought up, and we go back over 110 very, very quickly.
Is he getting a glove? Oh, watch. Who's watching this video of Justin's son from the dinner? I guess he got like a special watch for being the top holder.
Nice. I bet it's an expensive one.
I'm still super glad that I voted for Trump. I mean, imagine being talked down by people wearing white dudes for Harris shirts. God, that would have been miserable. But this guy needs to chill out on these fucking tariffs. I'm trying to make some SUV money on these plays. I'm not used to the volatility of the president.
Sorry for the silence there. I just couldn't think of what to say next on the show. It's just a lot of dead air right there. Not sure what's going on. Dinner looked interesting. Like I said, I didn't see any quotables, but it also could be that like Twitter's been like down, like very poor for the last like 24 hours. I don't know if anyone else has been experiencing this, but like it's been very hard to navigate Twitter over the last day. So maybe that's a bit of the like why there hasn't been as much.
I thought I got banned at first. I realized it was just bugging out.
Wait, are we just going to like all ignore what just happened there? Did we just get an insight into Kix's brain, but his mouth was not moving?
have you not seen this yet?
I have seen it. I absolutely love it because Kix's face is so deadpan when he delivers it. I really do believe that we're hearing his thoughts.
Yeah, it does sound that way. It's really funny. I don't know the best way to play it is just like to keep going on and ignore it, like pretend it's like just like let the audience enjoy it or what.
I can't ignore it because it feels very real. It kind of does feel like he's thinking that. So yeah. But anyway,
the best part was like the first day, like when he like finally he was like downloaded the software like at the beginning of the show and was trying to do it. And was like basically trying to do it live on the show, but it wasn't working. So he was just talking and then covering his mouth and saying the same thing in the same voice. And he didn't realize he was doing it. He did it all show. It was just like
I've improved the technology.
Yeah. You've got it now, Kix. You've got it.
I got a Neuralink installed.
Yeah.
Looking at the Trump meme coin, over the last 24 hours, down 14%. A lot of things are down over the last 24 hours, though. On the daily, we saw the big run up on the announcement. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is one that gets interesting to maybe accumulate again back in the like 1.5 billion range if it gets back down there. But this is one I'm not touching. I don't know if you guys have any interest in Trump token or any thesis on Trump token going forward.
I think I saw Ansem tweet about it, and like it was looking good from like a technical standpoint. I considered it. I took a look at it, but just there's a lot of plays out there. I don't think it's the strongest.
Yeah, like ROI seems tough.
Yeah, and there's a lot of overhang on this.
You don't know what's gonna like. They could keep pushing it.
Yeah, or not.
So I think that is this it also here. Yeah, I think it's it. Don't own this yet. This is from Ansem, a tweet. Don't own this yet, but also believe if you're betting on Bitcoin plus stock all-time high breakouts, you'll also likely get another like higher on all of the meme coins. And I'm not sure there'll be a better one at recapturing attention than Trump coin.
Yeah, I think if you were like trying to pick like an expensive meme coin to like long, like I feel like a Like a Pudgy would be better, or like a or even like a Pepe would probably perform better.
It's
Even
a
though
tough
Pepe's
one
more expensive.
because it was going down a lot, and then it didn't pump until he mentioned the dinner. So it just feels like as if they're trying to keep it alive, but it's definitely not their priority.
Yeah, it looks like
I'm with Kicks. I think there's better plays out there.
Yeah, it broke back down below Ansom's trend as well after the dinner. So could be a failed breakout on that flag. Yep, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I think risk adjusted returns is tough on that one. Looking over some of the other meme coins, we talked about Virgin as well on the show on Wednesday on buttons I'm clicking. This is the one of the 3 buttons I did click. This one's been performing quite nicely. I think this has been like 20 to 30x at least on what was put in. I was only able to get in, I think, 10 virtual on it. So like I wasn't able to get a ton, but I also got airdrops from stake virtual on this. So I think my stake virtual, I talked about this play on the show either earlier this week or late last week, where I basically locked up like $1,000 worth of virtual for 2 years indefinitely. And I think that's already paid back in what I've gotten airdropped over the last.
That's awesome.
So now I'm basically just free rolling the airdrops on this like indefinitely.
So what was your play with this one? You've exited the trade, or are you still holding this one?
I'm still holding this one. I'm actually very bullish on this one. So this is one I actually am staking. I felt comfortable locking this up for 2 weeks, and it's just like a continued play on this ecosystem. I'm going to give it 2 more weeks essentially. And then like consider what's happening and look at the lay of the land. If it's like a full stack exit, I'm not like heavily invested here into stuff that's locked up. Like most of my investment is just liquid virtual. So like I'm earning additional daily points for like having these things staked. So I staked this as well as a number of the other virtuals tokens that I'm holding. So essentially, I earn additional points for all these, and most of these are just like launches I've been allocating into. So my thesis on this is like, hey, this is going to go at least 2 weeks longer. If it doesn't go 2 weeks longer, it's going to come back at a later time, and I'm just going to just lock it up and sit and wait. It's kind of been an ecosystem that's been like a sit and wait, and you'll be rewarded. So I'm gonna hope that continues, and we're gonna continue to watch. I'll probably go into this as well today. It looks like another meme coin is dropping. I'll probably just max allocate into here. It's oversubscribed 14x. Looks like a Nancy Pelosi AI meme coin. Just continuing to add more assets to earn more points. So Ponzi, absolutely. Fair launch platform on Base, one of the bigger protocols on Base. So it's just kind of a bet on the ecosystem as a whole. I don't think any of these tokens are really like game changing and valuable, the ones I'm buying here, but it's basically getting in and starting to earn these points and like kind of like rolling rewards. So that's my strategy with virtuals. And one of the bigger winners that we got yesterday. I think we see more of those to come. Other meme coin action. We're seeing we saw 2 listings by Robinhood yesterday. We saw
Deng.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. And then we also saw Mew, which kind of came out of left field. I wasn't expecting this one. This feels like very insider cabalish. Any thoughts on like these types of listings coming out of Robinhood?
What I have done with Robinhood after listening to Easy's thesis and how bullish he is on the gambling side is I just went and bought the stock. So I like that we're seeing meme coins being bought there. Robinhood, it's similar to Revolut in the way that it's extremely easy to use, and it's a platform that many people will use to get into crypto and to do other fiat currencies. So I think like meme coins like Mew and Mudeng and anything else being on there is just a huge plus. And when you listen to the show where Easy put out his whole theory about why Robinhood is a good equity to buy, I think it's going to be part of this cycle of going up and having sort of leverage within crypto. So you've got obviously Coinbase, you've got MicroStrategy, you've got all those other companies like 21st and DeFi Development, all buying crypto exclusively. But what I like about this is that Robinhood has exposure to cryptocurrency, but their main business is essentially fiat, and now they have their gambling play. So I think as they diversify out of that and into cryptocurrency, and we see more meme coins go on, I think hopefully the share price will go up over this cycle. I like this move. I do. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Easy absolutely crushed this one. It looks like Robinhood's going to all-time highs. He was buying, I think, on the way down here and like back up on the way up. I think he stopped accumulating, but he's got a shit ton of this and has made quite the play here. This has been awesome to see out of Easy. I don't hold any Robinhood stock, and I've been talking about wanting to buy it all the way up and have not done it. So I'm on the sideline here. Congrats to anyone who's followed Easy on this one. This is a big play.
Well, in fact, SBF bought 10% of Robinhood at $8.
You can't say that, though, because you're going to get a lot of hate on the timeline.
And then the FTX liquidators liquidated it for $9.
And then what was some of the other ones? Cursor liquidated at cost.
Anthropic.
Yep.
Actually, I wanted to ask Ray, sorry, just ask Kits, because we spoke about this on the show earlier in the week, and you had a sort of a different point of view. But Kix, like, what's your sort of take on the equity, like the traditional companies going into cryptocurrency and the potential plays that might be there? So obviously MicroStrategy is the foremost strongest example in that, but we've been getting more like DeFi development. That's for Solana. 21st is Bitcoin. We've got other, you've got Meta Planet buying all the time. You've got the Robinhood. Like, how do you look at traditional stocks and then they, as they cross over into crypto, and there being potential plays on essentially being a leverage bet to any cryptocurrency at the moment, and that's in relation to meme coins. We're kind of looking at the whole spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, like I definitely like mid curved some of these plays. I just think it doesn't logically make a ton of sense to me. I'm not talking about like MSTR and what Michael Saylor did. Like, he's been doing that for a long time. I think he pioneered this. That logically made some sense to me, but like all of the catch up people, that were like, oh, we're just going to buy a bunch of Solana out of the company. To me, like, it just didn't make a lot of sense, because you're essentially buying Solana at a premium when you could just buy Solana. I think I value the fact that there's a lot of people that can just buy equities way easier than they can buy crypto, right? And this is almost like, not fully, but like sort of in the same vein, or it feels similar to like the meme coin stock trading when GameStop went crazy, and then like they were buying AMC and Bed Bath and Beyond, meaning like people are just speculating on some of these things more. I would think that over time, especially if you get like a Solana ETF, right, that these plays will kind of go by the wayside, because it just doesn't make as much sense. Like, once again, why just buy the Solana ETF instead of buying a company where you're getting you're paying a 3x premium on the Solana that they own, right? And once again, this is not talking about MSTR, which I think kind of pioneered this, but all of those trades did phenomenal, So I definitely mid-curved them. In terms of them like doing it with like meme coins and stuff like that, meh. In terms of like Robinhood listing meme coins, I think that's way more significant. I think Robinhood has a ton of retail traders on there and a demographic that's way more likely to buy crypto in general, especially meme coins. So I find that much more interesting. And I think it's just something that over time, as crypto becomes more accepted and the regulations either get deregulated or become more clear, we're going to see like more listings and faster listings of these things. So I think that kind of stuff is really cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I want to know, because I have a similar point of view. Ray was a little bit more on the tilt side, like more sort of seeing them more as almost like meme coin plays. Don't want to put words in your mouth, Ray, but sort of like that. And I viewed it as there's diminishing returns here. Like, if every company is buying an underlying cryptocurrency because they want to add it to their treasury, at the beginning, if you're MicroStrategy, it sounds like a really good idea because you're one of the pioneers. But then as everybody else starts to do it, it just becomes, well, what value are you actually adding to the company? Which I think over time, analysts will say, well, yes, they hold cryptocurrency, but so does everyone else. It's not.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And I also think it's like a sign of a business that like sucks. Once again, like MSTR like launched specifically to do this, but if someone is like like if a company is like a dead company with no stocks, so their core business sucks, and they're like sitting around the boardroom like, okay, our play here is we buy Solana and we say that we're like a Solana holding company. You know what I mean? You're basically betting on people that like sucked at business and then hoping that there's gonna be a premium. But once again, like I think that's like the middle curve take, and I think it'll be the right take over time. But like the left curve take here of like, oh, they're gonna get all this press worked out as like a short-term trade anomaly.
Yeah, I think like long term, you're right. Stats here. He was actually on a podcast with Pia. They did their Bitcoin podcast together, talking about MSTR. And he basically like says the same point, like premium to NAV is going to contract because there's going to be so many more of these companies that are launching the same strategy. So you're going to lose your edge in terms of like premium because you're going to have so many options to leverage your Bitcoin. I was talking to Sig. I was basically saying like I compare all these like pop-ups to like Fartcoin, essentially. They're just like levered crypto plays. They have maybe a little less downside, a little less upside, but they are still going to be like levered plays on crypto. If crypto rips, I could see these ripping more in terms of percentage basis.
I would also add as well, like going back on this, I bought MicroStrategy because I couldn't get into the Bitcoin ETF at the time when it came out with BlackRock last year.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find a tax efficient way to have exposure to Bitcoin, which like you guys are being served ETFs and we were being served, a piece of salad with nothing on it. So that's why I bought MicroStrategy. But now, as 1 year later, as things have changed, I just feel like I wouldn't do that trade now unless there is, a cryptocurrency where I'm like, oh, I need to get exposure to that, and I want to pay premium for it. Like I wouldn't even buy DeFi development, even though I think it's really good in the short term now. I still think you can squeeze juice out of it. But it also feels like if you bought Solana at $20, are you going to outperform that strategy? Because we've been in the space when it went down to 8. And if you bought at 20 or 40 or 60, I mean, your returns are looking beautiful right now. So would I buy DeFi development at a premium? No, I wouldn't, because I've already bought Solana at much earlier prices.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I'm not going to touch these. The one I'm interested in is Cantor, because I think that I think Jack Mallers is like a bet on him. Just like MicroStrategy, I think to an extent is a bet on Michael Saylor. Jack Mallers seems like almost like a younger, hungrier Saylor in terms of like Bitcoin. And he has a cool product with Strike. Is it Strike?
Yeah, the L2, Bitcoin L2.
No, the like the Bitcoin like
payment system.
Yeah, Bitcoin payment system. Strike. Yeah, Strike.me.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. If I was going to bet on like any of them, I agree with your like take there, where like he has the following, and I could see him doing interesting things that maybe Michael Saylor doesn't.
Yep. And like he's basically laser focused. Like I was listening to his interviews and he was like something like Bitcoin grows 30% year over year. So if somebody comes into my office like with a new idea or like a new product that they need like funding for, they're like, he has to ask them like, hey, well, is it a 30% every year idea or not? Because if it isn't, like, get the fuck out of my office. So like he's like no nonsense in terms of like acquiring Bitcoin at the app, like with utmost efficiency. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how they acquire it, what methods they're going to use, and then like how they're going to earn yield on it. So I'm very interested in seeing what happens here. And like this is probably one I'll dabble in a little bit out of all of them. Like this is the closest one I'm pulling the trigger to. That being said, a lot to talk about today. We talked about Gavel. We talked about Vader from plays that we made earlier in the week. We also talked about monsters.fun on Wednesday. Easy, I saw aping into these. This was a 0.125 ETH mint on Abstract. Greeny's favorite. We actually talked to Greeny in depth yesterday about Abstract. So if you're interested in Abstract, what to do there, listen to yesterday's show for sure. Greeny provided a lot of alpha. But these have run and settled at 0.53. I didn't get into these. I was looking for them on the first dip and then just wasn't at my like computer. Like they went up to like 0.5 and they went back down to like the 0.4 range. And I just wasn't at my computer during that dip. And then we had almost like a 2x from there. 0.75 high, settled down around the 0.5 range right now. If you minted, you're at a 4x. If you bought early, you're still in the profit. Low supply collection on Abstract Gaming, kind of like a Pokemon AI-esque type deal. So looking back at this one, another W from the show on Wednesday. Cool stuff happening on Abstract as they continue to kind of grow out their ecosystem. It's been like a slow cook over there, which has been interesting. I don't know if you had any thoughts you took away from Green's conversation signal. Did you start an account? Did you shoot Finn a DM to do your streaming?
No, so I did go on. I was on there last night. I was just doing some streamers investigation and research because I just wanted to kind of get a feel for like can they get that quality of content creator on there that would want to talk about anything. So I'm assessing it from like the person who wants to talk about book reviews to the person that wants to talk about figurines to the person that wants to talk to that wants to talk about crypto. And at this stage, I know Greedy was saying yesterday that he thinks that they're like one amazing content creator streamer away from being there. I would say probably a few more than one, just looking at it from the outside, from getting a first person perspective. But I don't see that as a negative. I do not see that as a negative at all. If you look at apps like TikTok, back during like 2020, there was hardly no one on it and everyone was just dancing and it wasn't that interesting. Fast forward 5 years now and it's a completely different beast. So it's still evergreen over there. There is still like plenty of opportunities. If like looking at the streams, there weren't that many people tuning in to the channels, which I saw across. But I think it's an opportunity if you're a content creator and want to try something different, which is not saturated, and you want your voice to be heard easily, then rather than going on, say, YouTube or TikTok, that would be a great place to experiment. And it doesn't. And what my thesis was like, well, if you were to do something completely different, like, I don't know, review books, something bland that does extremely well on other platforms, could you still get that same type of audience? That was my assessment. And I think right now I'd say no, but give it time, give it 18 months of posting consistently. Absolutely, it could. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot, Ray.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a ton of like viewers there, but I think like the ROI per viewer is much higher. So it's not gonna be somewhere where you can like really grow a channel in terms of like amount of concurrent users. There just aren't the people consuming content there, but with good content creators, I can flip like a switch. So I do pop in there. I don't do enough on Abstract, but I do pop in there and I look at the streamer numbers from time to time, and I kind of use that as my like mental gauge to like say, okay, like now things are getting interesting, because like there already are incentives for streaming, but if they get to a point where like you start seeing like maybe incentives for watching, or bigger streamers coming on there, and you're seeing hundreds of people in these streams, then something clicks and it said, okay, like I really need to pay attention. I might be late to farming points for an airdrop, but I might be early to capitalize on people who are looking to farm further, like flipping meme coins, flipping things that earn people points would be like how I'm looking as like a knockoff trade on Abstract. Once things like really start to like get frothy over there. So I'll keep capital over there. I'm sitting in like very few Abstract assets right now. A couple of those Dream Milios that Clemente brought up on the show, and some like random meme coins over there. So that's my thoughts on Abstract. I'm going to be continuing to watch it. I'll share in the Bodogo's Discord if I'm making any plays. And if you are a Bodogo, make sure you hit up Festige in the Discord. He's started his own like kind of Abstract alpha group, which is pretty good. He'll let you in there. Moving on, huge winner over the past week, outperforming pretty much everything. Kicks, this is gotta feel good for you. We've got hype hitting new all-time highs over the last 24 hours. You said you got basically red pilled into buying hype. Better late than never. What convinced you that hype was the play?
Yeah, well, this is one of those ones where I liked the concept around hype and was generally feeling good about it, and wish I could have gotten in earlier on, but I was doing other dumb shit like buying ETH and stuff. But yeah, I got red pilled for a couple of different things. Mainly it was Mike Novogratz on CNBC, and he laid out a case that I thought was pretty compelling, which was essentially crypto is becoming more mainstream, more accepted, and we're going to see more retail institutions buying in. But what he said is that essentially there's a lot of wealth in the world in older people right, that have this wealth, and they're used to evaluating businesses on revenue growth, price to earnings, etc. Right. And he said that a lot of crypto things aren't valued like that and are more valued on more abstract things like network effects. Right. So like you buy ETH or you buy Bitcoin, or you buy Solana because you think the network is strong and it's decentralized and it's going to grow bigger over time. Right. And he said, while some of those things are compelling, for the old school investors, it's way easier to sell them on something that is like has revenue and is using the revenue to buy back the token. And that is something that's very easy for one of those people to understand. So for example, Hypecoin, it's like, okay, they make 3 million a day in fees and they use that to buy back the token. So that's $1 billion a year in buyback, right? And they have a business generating revenue. What he's saying is essentially something like this is way easier to sell to these traditional investors. And I was like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Now, Hyperliquid isn't the only one that does this. There's plenty of coins out there that do buybacks. The biggest one being BNB, Binance, right, does that. They're worth $90 billion. So that's what got me to buy. And then how I kind of developed my thesis of where the price could go on this and why I bought a lot of this is that they have this great product, which is essentially an on-chain exchange. So it's a competitor to Binance, is a competitor to Coinbase, right? But then they also have the chain itself that they're building out. It's very early on, albeit it's slow, right? But you're basically not just getting a revenue generating exchange play here. You're also getting a blockchain play here, right? So like the potential of this being the next Solana, the potential of this being able to go and be a top 10 coin, which would take this to about $100. And then the potential of this to maybe even get to a BNB level, which is a 10x at $90 billion. That all kind of makes sense to me. So that was like point two. And then the last 2 points was, from a social signal perspective, like if you guys have seen James Wynn, this guy that made a bunch of money on Pepe and put a bunch of money on a Bitcoin long recently, right? You see this guy and you see other people on the timeline, and they're all sharing Hyperliquid P&Ls or Hyperliquid screenshots, right? So from a social perspective, I'm seeing lots of like big traders actually using the product and sharing the product. And I also think as price goes up, more people find out about this, more people use the product starts generating more revenue, which creates more token buyback. So I think there's a nice flywheel there. And then the last, and I'd argue maybe one of the most important points, is the fact that Binance tried to attack Hype via a perpetuals listing on a jelly, where they essentially tried to attack Hype and make the Hype vault lose money. And in my head, I sit there and I think, is Binance going to waste time, energy, and moral currency to attack something that they're threatened by or something that they're not threatened by, right? If they thought the product was crap, they didn't think they were going to lose market share to them, they wouldn't have even considered a play like this to try to discredit Hype. And they did that. And so to me, that was even more significant because I think that they see them as a competitor and as a potential threat. So those were the reasons why I got it and bought. Price has been doing very well, so that's awesome to see. And I'm happy to hold this at least until September, October.
So that's a very good thesis for the general token and ecosystem. I'm looking at like maybe beta plays potentially. I feel like if you might like, I think maybe the best play is just buying and holding Hype. Like Hype is continuing to climb this list. It's getting ready to crack the top 10. Like it's right up there next to Sui now at 11, 12, basically even on tokens. And this is, L1 plus perps as opposed to just L1. Though Sui does have like good ties. Like they basically have like their ecosystem L1 blockchain team also building out like order books and liquidity products. So they kind of are in the same place, but I could definitely see this entering the top 10, flipping things like Cardano.
Yeah. So like, Cardano gets me to SUV money. And then BNB gets me to SUV money, and I can put more money in the trading wallet.
Yeah.
But getting to BNB would be a multi-year horizon.
Yeah. And then you got to think that BNB is also going to, like, you have to not only catch up to it, but you have to catch up to where it's going to be, because BNB could potentially be the best performing coin of the cycle, too, in my opinion. That people.
I also think Hyperliquid, in terms of like its structure and what it's done, is its crypto ethos is the strongest out of most of these coins, meaning that they took zero money from investors. There's not a bunch of VC unlock overhang. They did a massive airdrop to the community. They have their own personal allocation, which they deserve bringing a product out like this. But it's like 75% just to people using the platform. And if you look at a lot of tokenomics these days, right, it's like 50% to the community, but like 30% of that is marketing and growth initiative. You know what I'm saying, right? And the users of the product or the community end up getting like 10, 15%, and the rest is to VCs and the team, the foundation, and da 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 da. So I think that the like approach that they took to this is very crypto-esque as well. So I'm very happy to hold this. I think it's going to go above 100. I have confidence in that by September, October. And I think it's a flywheel that only gets stronger. Just like in the chats that I'm in, the higher that it's gone up in price, people are asking about Hyperliquid and how can they buy Hyperliquid. And one of the interesting things is you only can buy Hyperliquid on Hyperliquid because none of the top exchanges want to list them because they're a competitor, right? So what that means is people move liquidity over to Hyperliquid, buy some hype, and then they're on the platform, they're on the DEX, and then they can start trading. And what I found attractive is like I can have my money sitting there and I can go take out a long on launch coin and virtuals at the same time, and I'm not worrying about bridging or any of this other BS.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they basically have cloned the existing perps platforms like DYDX. I personally prefer to hype in terms of perps, but a lot of people prefer hype. It's kind of like to each their own. Other ways in this ecosystem that you can like potentially be a degen, there are meme coins on Hyper EVM.
We traded and NFTs.
And NFTs. And we traded a number of these in Badaga's Discord. We got into Buddy pretty early. Now up to 23 million. These meme coins are up 40%. The top two, I think, are Per and Buddy. 152 for Per, 23 for Buddy. Might be worthwhile going on the Hyper EVM. Like Kix is saying, there's a lot of friction not only to buy hype, but to get onto their chain. Like it's a multi-step process that is just like a little bit and like a little too annoying to get the general people listening. Like if you're listening here and you're not on Hyperliquid, you're probably like, oh, it's too annoying to get on Hyperliquid. As long as that friction still exists, I believe that there's still opportunity to not only like make good trades on hype, getting into things early, but to earn enough points to like whatever their point system will be for the next airdrop. So even if like
100%.
Even if you're breaking even on meme coins, like looking at some of the dexes, looking at some of the swaps, lending, bridging, earning points, like playing around in the ecosystem, like maybe even just going on there and using everything once, like could lead to an airdrop of Hyperliquid that would far outweigh the time spent into it. So if you're here and you have time and you're looking for like a non-capital intensive way, like just try bridging like $50 over to Hyperliquid and playing with everything. And it's probably EV plus, even if that $50 gets eaten up. Obviously not financial advice, but like it just feels that way right now with the amount of friction. If you put the time to get through the friction and you do some of this stuff, I feel like it's just going to be outsized rewards at this point. Yeah,
and that's how I made money on Ronin. Like you only could buy Ronin if you bridged over to Ronin and set up the Ronin wallet, like a 3-step cumbersome process to get it. And I got it at 70 cents and it went up to 350, right? Like friction's generally good because it means that you're just getting ahead in line compared to other people. But I love that what you laid out, Ray, which is I think that there's two plays here. There's one, just buying hype rather. And two, it's trying to get involved early in the ecosystem, because the higher this goes up in market cap, the more NFTs will do well there. Meme coins will do well there. D-apps on there will do airdrops that will have high valuations. And there's plenty of people that will like FUD, has FUD for hype. And I actually think like FUD is bullish because it means that there's people that aren't buying. And like one of the pieces of FUD is that the hype EVM chain is slow, or it doesn't have all of the tooling because it's like in alpha. But once again, like those are things that can only get better over time. And that's not what Hype the Dex runs on. Hype the Dex actually runs on Rust, which is what Solana runs on. Way more efficient coding language.
Yep, definitely. Overarch in the comments asks, what are the steps for Hype to get on? People need to hear. Yep, I'll list them all off right here. Step 1, buy a Bodoggo or a Nifty portal. Step 2, ping me in the Discord, and I will go through the steps for you. So those are the steps on how to get to Hype. I'll be able to give you that alpha inside of our Discord. So just shoot me a ping. If I don't get back to you early today, it's because I am rallying the troops to make sure they're all set for their return back to from London, but I will get that information out at some point today in our Discord for people who are curious. So those are the steps to buy Hype. 1, buy a Bodoggo or portal. 2, come into the Discord and ping me.
Do you have like a little guy with a sign picking him up from the airport?
That's me, actually. I'm gonna go to New York, get easy. I'm gonna then go down to Miami, get Nick and them.
You know, actually, another thing about Hype as well is that I got a call from a very good friend who works in asset management, like hardcore DeFi, but also understands like traditional finance extremely well. And this person, like when they call me, I'm always listening to be like, oh, what did you hear about? Because most of their attention is on traditional finance and then what's happening in DeFi. They're not playing around with NFTs. They're not like, this is like, you know, big boy stuff.
Yeah.
And they mentioned Hype to me very early. And I was like, okay, that's interesting because I've been hearing other smart people like Modern Market talk about Hype for a really long time. And so those are, so when I heard those two people together, I was like, okay, I'll buy a bag. I didn't buy a massive bag, unfortunately, but I bought a bag because I was like, let's just see how this plays out. But I like, for me, it's always really interesting to see like what information from our space kind of like leaks into TradFi. And if it's catching
100%.
their attention, I'm like, okay, something's brewing here because I didn't tell them about it. They told me.
Yeah, like that's why the Mike Novogratz thing on CNBC, where people will often be like, "Oh, that's a top signal" or whatever like that, and it's like, no, actually, I think like Mike Novogratz, I think he's very early to a lot of plays. Was early to ETH, early to Solana, and the fact that that's like the one company he wants to bring up while he's on the show and pitch was interesting to me. So I think you're 100% right. This is capturing a lot of TradFi, et cetera, and I think that as crypto becomes more accepted and easier regulation, stuff like Hype could only do better. So yeah, happy with that buy.
Love to see it. Love to see Hype continuing to cook. Like I said, I'm on Hyper EV. I'm holding native Hype there. So I'm very happy. It's a gas token for the chain as well, which is cool. You can just hold the token, do stuff with it, trade it, buy stuff in it. It's all Hype, which I like. I like it when the token is the gas token and native token as well. I'm going to run through some quick hitters. These are sent to your inbox daily if you subscribe to our newsletter, dailybones.com. Get this Monday through Saturday, Saturday being a weekly roundup of all the big news from the week. We've got Bitcoin setting a new all-time high yesterday, just shy of 112K. The Supreme Court gave Trump power to fire independent agency members, but Jerome Powell is safe as the Fed is an exception to that rule. Trump's tax bill passed the House, now goes to the Senate. Binance listed World Liberty Financial's USD1 stablecoin. OKX launched XBTC on Solana, another option to buy a 1-to-1 backed Bitcoin token on Solana. The United States will stop circulating and minting pennies as inflation rises. Pennies just don't matter anymore. They're basically the Satoshis, or the future maybe Bitcoins of fiat money. Pakistan established the Pakistan Digital Assets Authority, which will regulate Bitcoin and other crypto assets. Crypto.com secured the MIFID license. It's going to be able to offer derivative products in the EU after this. Season 1 of Fantasy Top ended. Heroes who were not performing got culled. No more of them, and new heroes were added to the platform, notably Dip Wheeler, the Fartcoin Maxi. So interesting stuff happening over there on Fantasy. If you're a hero, you also got paid out for your Season 1 payment. Some people got upwards of 2 Ethereum for that. I saw on the timeline some big winners there. That ends it for the quick hitters. If you want to get these every day, every morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, subscribe over at dailybones.com. Super simple, easy to get in there. And we have some special promos as well. Some of our sponsors offer some special stuff to our newsletter subscribers. So make sure you check that out when you get a chance. Couple more things, though, I want to talk about. Had an announcement from Wormhole that kind of caught my eye and like got me thinking. Wormhole announced that Doge is going to be going multi-chain. They're adding support to basically bridge Doge to Solana. You can buy and sell Doge there. Is there a scenario where like the play for this cycle is just like buy Doge right now and just like come back into the cycle and collect your money?
I hope so, because one of my golfing buddies who was listening to me and my other friends talk about crypto, right? And then he bought Doge at like 35 cents or 40 cents after like Trump was elected in that big rip, right? And then obviously it starts collapsing. And this was like his first trade in crypto, and he's like not a big trader kind of guy or anything. We're like, oh fuck, we're rooting for him. We don't want him to lose, like, you know, his first trade ever. But he started dollar cost averaging in on the way down. And so his break even price now is like 25 cents.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, so I'm like rooting for this so bad. I want it to go to like 50 cents and for him to get a big win in this space. He's like, yeah, I'm not really worried about it till it goes above 30 cents. Then I'm going to be all stressed out about, you know, selling it or selling it too early or whatever. I'm like, there we go. Reel them in. But yeah, I mean, like from a technical perspective, I think like the chart looks pretty good. It's like one of the big legacy meme coins that has a super strong following. It's not as like maybe cute or new as a Pepe, but I think this is something that just trades at a higher beta to the other crypto majors, right? Like when it bleeds out, it's going to bleed out harder. But if the crypto markets like do well, like I would not be surprised to see this at least retest Trump election highs around like the 60 cent range. As long as, you know, things hold up, there's no war or Trump doesn't, you know, tariff the European Union by 3,000%.
I agree with you. I see like if we get to that banana zone they like to talk about, these legacy meme coins, I just don't see them just crab walking and not really doing anything. Like it's one of those all like tide going up lifts all the boats. And I think this has been around long enough and it's proven itself that it will go up as well. It's not going to be my play though. I mean, I have a bag of Doge, not probably as big as like Pios or anything, because I want to be positioned that if that tide's going up, then at least I got a little ore to go up with it. But like, you know, I don't know. I find it a bit boring. It's kind of like when people say, "Oh, just buy Bitcoin and sit there," and it feels like the most boring play to do, even though it is the correct play to do. That's kind of how I feel about Doge. I feel like I don't like if it wins, amazing. Like, well done to everyone who did it. But I don't want that to be my play. I kind of want something a bit more sexy, a bit more exciting. Kind of like, you know, hype. I mean, compare Doge to hype. Like, which one do you want to have been positioned in?
Yeah, like I can sleep easier at night holding like hype. Like I have a fundamental like thesis, and I also think if you're like buying meme coins, like the plus side to Doge is like everyone knows about it. So like someone in like retail is just like, I'm gonna go buy some crypto. They may go buy Doge and they like the price or whatever. But a lot of people think retail is so dumb that they like can't look at market cap, and I do think a lot of them do look at market cap. So if you're like going down the risk curve and you like look at almost things like Deng being listed on Robinhood, like would you get a better return if you want to speculate on a meme coin to be like retail will like Deng, and Deng has a better chance of 3xing than Doge? I don't know. I'm really not the best meme coin trader. I don't think I'll ever be. So I don't really buy too much of this stuff, but rooting for my golf buddy.
Yeah, and also as well on this point, it's just like it depends on how much time you have to allocate. Like if you can be easy at your computer all the time clicking buttons, this will be the most boring trade to do. But like if you don't have time and like your golf buddy who just sounds like he wants to golf and talk about it, this is the trade for him. So it's all about like it's not even about how much capital you have to allocate. It's almost about how much time you have to allocate to these memes. So I think like that's something to think about. But right, it totally could be that. It totally could be that. Just go to bed, close your eyes, wake up, and it's all good.
We should do an interview sometime with my golf. I think you guys would be fascinated by my golf buddy, because my other golf buddy is very successful businessman. Also like an absolute sports gambling shark. I think he loses a lot of money on it, but makes a lot of money on it. He bet 10K on, or 15K rather, on Scotty Scheffler to win the PGA, 170 grand, right? Then he also does things like he asked me the other day and he's like, hey man, when Coinbase delists a token, Like, how do I sell it? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I bought $2,500 of this coin called the Mines of Dolaria. And Coinbase delisted it. It's like down 90%, but like I can't sell unless I send it to my Coinbase wallet. I don't know how. And I'm like, why the fuck are you buying Mines of Dolaria, dude? And he's like, I don't know. I was just like looking around and the price is going up. And I just love it because he's so smart, but like he scratches an itch with meme coins. Like he'll literally just buy a trending meme coin on Phantom. He'll just be like, yeah, it's trending. He's like, yeah, it's up 70%. And I'm like, do you know anything about it? He's like, no. I'm like, you should 100% sell that. And then like 5 holes later on the golf course, he's like, it's down 30%. I'm selling. I lost money. He just likes to scratch an itch for it.
We need to get him and Sauna Guy. And if Sauna Guy wants to wear a mask, that's okay. We accept him.
Yeah.
We accept him. But Golfman, Sauna Guy, and you as a trio, that needs to happen in 2025.
Yeah, dude, Sauna Guy, man, he has some phenomenal plays like that like Toast, I think was like the last stock that he told me to buy. Oh yeah, and that was so that's up 3x. That was a good trade. But then he also there was this one cryptocurrency he was so bullish on, and it like just sounded like the dumbest thing ever. And the price was down just so unbelievably. It was like one of those like rebasing tokens. But he kept telling me, he's like, they're going to get this partnership and they're going to lock this in with this. And like, I just need it to go up to a penny. If it goes back up to a penny, dude, I'm like phenomenal. But if it doesn't, like my wife's going to be pissed because we got 200K in this thing. It's just funny.
Yeah, we need him on. We need him on, and we need him with like it's even better. All 3 of you in the sauna, so that Sauna Guy feels relaxed in his environment.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Your golf buddy can join with a club if he needs to. He can bring his bag, whatever. But we need them on because he has good trades. But so yeah, we need him. Anyway, Ray, I got to go. I'm so sorry. I need a dip, so I'm going to say bye. It's been good seeing y'all.
Yeah, see you, Signal.
Sig, one quick second.
Yeah.
Doge to new all-time highs or Bitcoin to 300K? What's more likely?
What within when? My lifetime?
What happens first? Doge to new all-time high or Bitcoin to 300K?
Bitcoin to 300K within my lifetime.
Okay. All right. Kicks. Doge to new all-time highs or Bitcoin to 300K.
Within our the timeline is within the lifetime.
I mean, just what happens first? Neither might happen, but
that's tricky. It's basically a bet if Dogecoin can get an all-time high in the next 2 or 3 years. Because I don't think Bitcoin goes to 300K in 2 years. I definitely think it's going to go there. I think 200K this cycle is a reasonable target. I would almost think Doge maybe. I don't know. Like if you zoom out on the chart, like if you put it on, like if you just see like it had the pulse in 2024. Yeah, you see that? You see how like you could almost draw like a curve off of the bottom, like up against the lows. You can't really draw curves. Yeah, but like, big pump goes down, big pump, new higher. Yeah, like a curve like that. Yeah, exactly. And just keep going. Keep going on that curve. Yeah, just curve it. Higher, straighter, higher. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. 100 billion.
2027.
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sig. You can go. I just wanted your answer. That's all I wanted to hear. You don't need to stick around and watch me.
Okay, I just need to be live in the next 2 years to see who's right. So yeah, I'm good. Right. I'm gonna go. Peace.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Doge. I think Doge gets new all-time highs before Bitcoin hits 300K.
Yeah. I would bet that for sure.
So like in that scenario, just like the least effort to rewarding crypto could be just longing Doge and going away until next cycle.
I mean, the MACD curl on Doge looks pretty nice too. You see that down there? It's just flipping green, and it has just that perfect. Like that's the best kind of MACD. Like you want like a deep red. Like you want the curve to look like an ice cream cone scoop. And so it's like, and it just cleanly comes all the way up. And this is the first green candle. So you would think with like a pulse up that this thing would definitely break Trump previous all-time highs. which that in alone was very close to breaking all-time high, right? I mean, that was within what, 20%? You're just
Trump all-time high.
No. Doge at Trump inauguration was very close to breaking all-time high, right? It was within
70K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at this wacko candle here where we hit a high of 98 bill back in 2021 of May 20.
That was a wild time to be alive, man. I was having an intrusive thought the other day back when I had way more money in crypto and was doing way more degenerate stuff. And I put a absolute gig along on Sandbox land when Facebook switched to Meta. And I was just sitting back thinking, and I sold it for like 50% and it went to $7. It would have been, but like I was talking to my buddy and he's like, you can't think that way because it's just like negative thinking, A. And then B, you don't know what you would have done with that money. Like that may have caused me to do more degenerate stuff in 2022. You know what I mean? And take bigger losses. But yeah, some people in the chat asking if Sauna guy's still on Caspa. I haven't been going to the gym much lately, so I haven't seen him, but he was super bullish on Caspa. I doubt he sold his Caspa. I think that he's still probably very long on that. I need to hit him up and tell him about Hyperliquid though. I need to return the favor.
Yeah, give him the hype. It's not early, but it's still early.
That's the thing, man, is like a lot of my trades that I've made that were good trades have always been, it's very quickly to trap yourself in this mindset of, oh, I'm buying someone else's 3X, right? You can say that about hype, right? You're buying someone else's 3X that bought down at $10, right? You could also say that about virtuals right now. Like, oh, I'm buying, it's 5X off the bottom. I'm too late, right? But some of the best trades I've made is when these things have already gone 2 or 3X off the bottom, but you think that they're a strong opportunity and they can have way more momentum, right? Like you would miss an infinite amount of plays if you're like, oh, I'm not going to buy Nvidia here because I'm buying someone else's 100X and then 100X is from there, right?
Yep.
So I'm getting better at that like mentality of like, it doesn't fucking matter where the price was before or that I could have theoretically bought it for cheaper. If I still think it's a great play, I'm going to get in now. So I think hype to $100 makes a lot of sense to me. So that's my biggest bag. That's not not Bitcoin or ETH right now. So it's like it's my highest conviction play. So I'm hoping it works out very well.
Let's go. It's up there for me as well. We had a fun week. We had a lot of guests on.
Good week.
A lot of different perspectives.
I'm kicking. We missed that pre-sale, man. That was one of those kind of dumb, obvious ones. You know, we gotta. You and I gotta have like a word. Like let's say Neapolitan ice cream. If either of us feel like we're talking about something that's like, man, like should we actually just throw a flyer at this? We'll say Neapolitan ice cream.
Would you have said that during me talking about it? Because I wasn't going to say it.
No, here's the thing. In my head, I was like, I like this, but we're on the show and it's going to close in 15 minutes anyways. And I don't want to go grab my laptop while I'm on the show and do it. But that actually would have been fun to have live traded on the show and have been great. If you had just said it, like you had just said it, I would have been like, that's going to be fun. It's the fact that MetaBlocks DM'd me that morning. It was the first thing I saw in the morning. And he was like, pre-sale ends in 5 hours. You should get in this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then you brought it up on the show. And that's like that confluence of two things. There's an XMR bull in the chat. I will say that I had a bull thesis on XMR on this show. I want to say 2 or 3 months ago. It was during April. Or March when everything was bleeding out. XMR held very strong, and I said that I think that with how the crypto market is shaping up, and everything is kind of becoming like governments are getting involved, more transparency, but like more KYC in this stuff. That there was going to be a real privacy meta play, and I swear I pulled up XMR in the chart because I was like everything else was bleeding during that period where it just chopped at 4 billion, and I was like, people are accumulating this thing here.
What's the base token? Was it VVV?
No, it was. I don't think that one's doing great, man. I looked it up before. it starts with a V, but it's not VVV, and it's on base. But it's a privacy swapping thing. I checked and it was like still in the millions. It's something V.
Thesis is private uncensored AI.
Yeah. So it's not VVV. It's a privacy token, and I think I found it. I think there's maybe a privacy. Yeah, there's a privacy category in CoinGecko, and it was down. Veil. I think it was Veil.
It was Veil. 100%.
Yeah, it's not doing shit, dude.
Okay, well, like that's good if you're looking for an opportunity, right?
To buy. Yeah, I think just like the challenge here is like I'm not sure exactly. Like I think it does some sort of privacy on base, uses ZK snarks or something like that. But like base, it's like privacy on base. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like, pizza and ice cream. Like it versus like a chain that is XMR, right? Which is like a way cleaner, stronger play. I think that if you were to buy Veil, you would buy Veil with the thesis that the privacy meta picks up, and then the base team wants to shill that like they have a suite of products on base that is privacy focused. And so they shill Venice, they shill Veil, and they shill something else. So, I mean, like the risk reward here, honestly, is kind of attractive, right? Where you're like, dude, this thing is 90% off the highs. It's at 3 million, right? And one thing I've been doing, Ray, is I like to put in enough of something where if it goes to 100 mil, I have 100K. Right. So this is like a perfect example, right? It's at 3 mil, right? So literally you say, okay, I'm going to put in $3,100. If it goes to nothing, whatever, I've lost $3,100. But if this thing catches a big storm and goes to 100 million, I've made 100K. Yeah.
So this thing is continually bounced off the 886, which is like the death like knell below that. So maybe someone's accumulating down there, and you got to think your risk reward here is so low, right? Like up high on the downside. Yeah, on the downside. Yeah, I mean, everything obviously can go to zero. 50% retrace on this would be like a pretty substantial retrace in terms of percentage.
Yeah, like it either just straight dies, the team doesn't care about it or whatever. And I have no like information on like whether it's being used or it's like active. But I mean, there's plenty of stuff that isn't actually a used product that catches a meta, right? And like does very, very well. So if anything, talking to you about this, like I like this play more where it's just like, since April, this thing has ranged at between like 3 and 4 million, you're buying it pretty close to like the death nail blood.
Yeah, Neapolitan ice cream.
Neapolitan ice cream, right? Yeah. I got to take my morning poop after this and then I'm down, dude.
Oh man, we've had a great week though. We've been running. I gotta head out of here. We've got a very special montage from all the guests this week, put together by Levi, Levi. I think it's OX Levi on Twitter. So follow him. It's Levi GMI on Twitter is his account. He put together a nice clip of our show from the week. I'm gonna play this out. He sent me his early draft. He'll probably be posting it later today. Follow Levi GMI. Taking my advice and clipping shows. We talked about this yesterday. Clipping shows for creators. Creators love it. Get you a boost as well. I'm going to share this little montage as we do our sign off. Thank you all for listening. It's been a wonderful week over here at the Daily Bone. We do this podcast Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, available on all major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple. Watch us back on YouTube, see what we're talking about, see what we're charting. Thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful Friday and weekend.
Yeah, everybody have a great time.
Sorry, it's not playing.
So
that's started over. Here we go. Now we're going.
Yeah, man, it was really great to have you guys. When I did do a podcast, it was so hard to keep consistent. So that's why I have such an utmost respect for this podcast, because every day at 8 a.m. my time, you guys are live.
Or like, what do you see when you're looking at these other InfoFi platforms?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I see is that there's just other competitors. And so I'm trying to take advantage of the other competitors, especially because these things, like, I personally already like like researching different stuff anyways and posting about it. So now you could possibly get an airdrop for it. So why not do it?
But the 2.618, which has been hit every single cycle as an extension from the top to the low, is at 155K. And I genuinely think that could be a target in conversation towards the end of this year, possibly into 2026, if macro sort of sustains that bullish risk on environment.
Yeah, just kind of the one thing that I found in life is like it's all kind of a pendulum. So when you hit that high, you're going to come back down to a low. So just like getting in alignment with that movement, and then just kind of figuring out like, oh shit, I hit this, I need to relax and not do shit, and then wait for the pendulum to come back so then I can ride the momentum back up.